Selling Online Today, featuring Alan from HardwareIreland.ie.
Never overpromise and underdeliver. If you're making a commitment to the customer, you got to follow that through every time.
Making a great living by selling online is possible if you know who to turn to for help. Welcome to Selling Online Today, the show that features the winners of the online sales world sharing their stories of domination of eBay, Amazon, or their own sites. Here's your host, Patrick Conlin.
Hi everyone, and welcome to Selling Online Today, the show that brings you all you need to know to successfully sell online in today's changing environment. We stress multi-channel selling, so Amazon, eBay, website, all at the same time, all interlinked. But firstly, we're going to chat with someone who's already on that journey. And we have Alan from HardwareIreland.ie. Hi, Alan.
How you doing, Patrick? Pleasure to talk to you.
Yeah, likewise, Alan. Pleasure to talk to you. So Alan has a really interesting online business. It's connected to his bricks and mortar store, family business based in Crumlin in Dublin in Ireland. So Alan, I'm just going to hand it right over to you. Fill us in a bit more about what this is all about.
Well, Patrick, we've had a hardware store in Crumlin Village, Expert Hardware Crumlin, for the past 20 years. And 6 years ago, we decided that we needed to look into some different avenues and generate some different income streams. And online was one that we looked closely at. And to be honest, initially we wondered about how suitable it would be for our local hardware store, how much business we'd actually generate from an online store. We kind of had the view that maybe as a catalogue, it might be very helpful for us for bigger items instead of saying to people, well, you know, we can order this, which would be a classic line in a hardware store because it's very difficult to carry everything. We'd be able to point and say, well, this is what we can order here. Here's what it is. There's the dimensions. That's the price. And it'll be into you in 2 to 3 days or whatever. So nearly a catalogue that we have for our customers in store. But the way it's transpired is it's nearly a standalone business in itself now, the website. And with that, it brings a lot of problems and a lot of extra business. Overall, it's extremely beneficial, but it does require a lot of attention.
I'm looking at your website here now, HardwareIreland.ie. I'm quite sure this isn't the first iteration of your website because this one now looks very crisp. Is this the first version or did you have one before? This one now looks very professional. It's
an updated version. We are lucky enough in that within the same premises we have Kieran, who designs websites. Now, he's nothing to do with our store as such. He works from the same premises. And it's Kieran who looked after our website. And Kieran has a great eye for detail. Best Web Design is Kieran's business. And yes, this is the second website Kieran has built for us. And it is something that we are constantly updating. Like I say, there's a lot of work goes into it. It's not you build your website, leave it in the corner, and then off it goes, generating all these sales for you. A lot of energy and time and effort going into to make sure that your product file is right, that your images are right, that your site is easy to shop, products are easy to find. So no more than having a bricks and mortar store, an online store requires a lot of attention.
Well, that's refreshing, Alan, that you say that. And I suppose I'm very well placed here to be able to chat to you about this area because in the last couple of years, I've actually helped to fairly reasonable sized businesses regionally who are also in hardware to set up their e-commerce operations. And boy, do I know what it's all about. And it's refreshing that at least it sounds like you've come a long way and you now understand the challenges that are involved in e-commerce. I'm going to delve right in and just ask a few questions. Do you use a back office system similar to Intac, which are based in Dundalk? Does that sound familiar to you?
We'd have a back office system for our Expert Hardware store, but not as a standalone for the website.
Does it integrate with the website or not as such?
It doesn't integrate with the website. We'd have to manually put on items. If we get a sale on the website, we'd then have to work that into a back office system. It wouldn't automatically happen.
Yes. It takes a while before the businesses actually make that leap. It is possible eventually to have it all interlinked with your EPOS system in as much as that if you have an item which is on your website and it sells on eBay or Amazon, for example, that will then deduct from your website stock, which in turn will then deduct from your EPOS back office system, so that the stock control is perfectly managed. Because in a business so big, the problem isn't selling stuff online. The problem is being able to fulfill the orders as and when they come in, to make sure that you actually have it in stock and that you haven't double sold it, so to speak.
Yeah, it is something we'll certainly be looking at down the line.
It's very crisp and it's very fresh. So do you sell on any other channels? Have you dabbled into the likes of Amazon or eBay?
We do, yeah. We do a good bit via eBay and Amazon, and we generate quite a lot of business from that route. I suppose the frustrating thing, or the harsh reality of it is the costing of selling, in particular with Amazon, are very, very difficult. So you have to have your margins right.
Yes.
Generating the sales is one thing. Making sure you have your margins right so you're not selling, you're not being a busy fool, you know.
Absolutely.
Is very tricky, because you've got to get it out there at a competitive price, because Amazon and eBay shoppers are very, very savvy. They know exactly what's out there. They're looking for the best bargain that's out there. So if your prices aren't right, you won't sell. But you've got to have your margin right as well, or you're not making enough money. And at the end of the day, if you're not making profit, your business won't be viable for very long. It's
interesting, Alan, that you talk about that. I actually believe it's almost a job within itself, within any business, but particular the likes of a store which is dealing with thousands of different product lines, that there is someone who's constantly scrutinizing the figures to make sure that there is a proper margin. Because between the Amazon repricing tools that exist out there among different businesses, it is quite easy before you know it to be locked in a spiral of price cutting. However, as you have well discovered, I'm sure by now, it's not the only thing which guarantees you that buy now box. There's the whole algorithm of customer service, plus stock levels, plus your delivery and fulfillment of the products, and how well you get back to customers. So it doesn't, some businesses do think that it is only price, but not necessarily. The problem is keeping on top of how much it's costing you to get it to the person. Alan, being based in Southern Ireland, how does that work for you regarding your postage to, I guess the UK mainland is a big marketplace for you, especially if you're on Amazon, am I right?
It is, yeah, it is indeed. Again, very, very competitive in getting the cost price, but your delivery cost has got to be really keen. Now, we're lucky enough with the volume we're doing, we use on post courier services. And they're giving us an excellent service, it must be said, at a very good rate. But this is only it's nearly a chicken and egg thing. It's only achieved a decent rate when you get the business.
Absolutely.
So you've got to have the volume of business to say to them, look, we've got X amount going out per week. What can you do? And I'd advise anyone, no matter who they're using as their courier, to be constantly on that phone for them every couple of months, revising that price, seeing if they can get an extra couple of euro off, because it makes all the difference in having that keen delivery price.
Yeah. For all our listeners who are actually from Southern Ireland, are you then basically on amazon.co.uk, because there isn't an amazon.ie, correct?
Yeah, that's right. You're on .co.uk, yeah.
And do you also then venture out into the European marketplaces through the international listing tool, or has that been harder to...
That has been harder to crack. There would be certain lines, and we will get certain requests for example, a really successful line for us, both in store and online, has been a very simple little line, nice and lightweight to send as well, which is an electric hot water bottle. Basically, hot water you plug in the wall, heats for 15 minutes, gives you 8 hours heat. Really niche little products, great little products. And we've been selling them very successfully throughout the UK and Ireland. And we have had requests from Italy and further afield. People have come across the product and said, look, can you send that across to us? And we'll get a postage. We have rates for all those, but they'll have to be worked out individually per product. It's per kilogram when we go outside Ireland and the UK, whereas within Ireland, it's up to 30 kilo, one flat rate. Within the UK, up to 20 kilo, one flat rate. So when we go further afield, it's not as easy to structure a price list given the database of products that we're dealing with. There's such a wide variety of them.
And not only the database, it's more also, you can have a large item that's very light, But the volumetric calculation of measurement, or the girth, as it's called, can sometimes make it not worthwhile. Like if it's a very light rake, for example, it might be over 300 centimetres. So therefore, by the time you get it out to the post, and especially if it's going to Europe, it turns out that it's hardly in many cases worthwhile unless it's a well sought after item.
This is it, yeah. And again, at the end of the day, you've got to get that pricing right. There's no point sending these things off and just your margin being so small it's barely worth it. Mm-hmm. It's great to do a bit of business abroad, and we send bits to Australia, America, we send stuff over to Asia, but it always with a view that, is it profitable? Have we got our delivery costs covered? Happy days, away we go. Not getting too excited in the fact that you're sending off to all these great countries. At the end of the day, it's about profitability and are you making your margins on the product.
Absolutely, it is. It's all about making money. There's no point in doing it. You don't want to be a busy fool. You've mentioned the three marketplaces. So you've got Amazon, you've got your website, and you've got eBay. Which do you prefer?
The website.
And would that be because, like the majority of us, we feel like we have more control over our customer base?
Yeah, I feel that we do, but I find there's a lot of work goes into the eBay and the Amazon customers. And there can be sometimes unrealistic expectations of delivery as well, even though it's clearly marked on the site, or questions about the product, again, even though it's clearly marked in the descriptions about size, what size, and there can be a lot of to and forth. I suppose the other avenue that we use to sell with the website would be adverts. And that'd be another classic thing where you can get a lot of tire kickers. Whereas you find with the sites, and by all means, if there's genuine questions, it's hard to get everything across about a product on a site. If there's any questions, we're delighted to answer them at info@HardwareIreland.ie. Just bang us a mail and we'll be as helpful as we can with it. But there can be an awful lot of tire kickers on some of the other selling outlets, I find.
Have you dabbled into the Irish-owned ones, the likes of adverts.ie or Dundeel and things like that?
Yeah, we do, yeah. Not so much with Dundeel. We've done a fair bit with adverts, and we've generated some nice sales from adverts, and it would be certainly something that's worth doing, but there is an awful lot with it. It's not as simple as my product's up in adverts, I'll just wait on this chap now or the next customer along to buy the product and then I'll ship it out to them. There tends to be a good bit of contact in between.
There is a lot of customer service involved in running your online business, as you're rightly saying, between the photography of the products if the suppliers don't supply them, the uploading of the products, the product description, the sourcing of all of that sort of thing, then dealing with customer inquiries, then the picking and packing process, and then the returns process.
Yeah.
Do you have a separate team in store, or how many people do you have around you helping you in your online business?
There'd be 6 of us who deal with all aspects of it, to be honest. There'd be no one exclusively looking after one area. But like you say, there's an awful lot that goes into it. When it does come to the likes of returns, it would tend to be myself that would deal with it. But all other aspects of it, there'd be 5 other members who'd all look after that. One of the major benefits of the website that we're set up with Kieran is that it's very hands-on. In other words, if I want to list another product, it's very, very simple. 6 or 7 very simple steps for me to upload a product if and when we see them, and indeed edit a product. It's not like I have to go off to Kieran and say, look, I've got to come across this other line, or I've got these 6 other lines, will you list them up? Very user-friendly, the system, and that is essential to anybody who's thinking about getting a website, that they have, within a couple of clicks of a mouse, can change a product, change delivery, change the image, update a product, obviously update a price at the moment. Everybody knows the sterling's going through the roof, so prices are sneaking up. We've got to be on top of that. That's something I think is very, very important, no matter what size your business is, what size your website is. But you've got to be able to have a real hands-on system that you're able to react quickly to any changes.
In the case of my own website, I sell women's shoes all over the world, and once we put our product on our website, then with a few other clicks, then we push that out to Amazon, and then we push it out to eBay. So we're actually managing everything from one central point, and there is the possibility of also putting percentage increment on the likes of Amazon, even though on our website it might be one price, you can take into consideration the different percentage fees, which really helps then when it comes to margin, which I know on the smaller based items, you certainly have to watch that with a magnifying glass to make sure that it all is working out. So that's quite a team you have behind you. Would you find that in your area of business, there's a lot of returns? In the shoe business, for example, it is really, really common because obviously a woman's getting a pair of shoes, she's trying them on, and then, no, don't fit, and off they come back to us again. So in the shoe business, there's a lot of returns. What about in your area? How do you find that?
There would be returns. It would be part of the business. It's not a massively common thing. I'd say it's certainly less than 2%, I'd imagine. I haven't looked at the figures now recently. But there would be an element of returns and an area. Sometimes this is just general. The customer finds it's not quite what they wanted. There would be something we learned very, very early doors is your product description, your product codes, your product image. They've got to be nailed on. Now, we give a no quibble back guarantee with our products, and I think that's important. In particular, people buying online, they want a peace of mind. I get the product, not quite what I want, off comes back. So we'll always issue the refund. There's no issue with that. But there have been occasions where it's been 100% our own fault. The image wasn't quite sharp enough. Product code wasn't 100% bang on. We would have been maybe a little loose in that early doors. That's something, again, as you go on and understand the customer better online, it's not just that they're looking for this Hilka tool. It has to be this Hilka tool, this exact product number, and accuracy really on the site is vital.
Yes, well, those are all valuable bits of information, valuable tips and tricks. And at Selling Online Today, we're very grateful for real-life experiences which can help people who are thinking of starting up their own online business, that these are important considerations to keep in mind. You've mentioned a key thing which helps the success of your own online business, which is that customer service. And that is essential. And it sounds like you've basically just opened up your arms and said, yeah, we're there for the customer. We're there to cater for their needs. You're competing with every other business in your sector online. So there has to be that complete wanting to serve the customer best, and I'm quite sure that reaps its rewards for you. When it comes to marketing your online business, is that something that you do yourself or do you outsource that?
No, it's something we've done ourselves. It's not something we spend an awful lot of time on marketing the website itself. What we found is to get the website right, to have your product descriptions right. In other words, if we're going to sell coal bunkers, which is an unusual item, and that probably vary a little bit, but a coal bunker would have been the classic item I originally would have thought in my head. We'll set up this website, the likes of a coal bunker, we'll have it listed on there. Our local customers will come in, we'll be able to say, here's your 3 bag, 6 bag, 12 bag, there's the dimensions, we can order for you and have it for 2 days' time or whatever. What in fact happened was we started selling bunkers all over the country, 3 bag bunkers in particular, because the weight restrictions on the larger one.
Yes.
Plastic, self-made, ready assembled plastic bunkers. We've been phenomenally successful for us. Nobody sells more coal bunkers than our little hardware store in the country, and that wouldn't be the case if we didn't have a website.
Yes.
But the point is that we've put the descriptions are right, the product are right, the site is right. So if someone looking for a coal bunker, they're going to come across our site without the use of AdWords. AdWords isn't something we've spent a lot of money on in this particular website, www.HardwareIreland.ie. That's not something we focused AdWords campaigns on. It's more about keeping our site right, our descriptions right, and having the right keywords on our site for when people are searching those key items. We'd have a sister company in Cartridge, Ireland, that a brother of mine looks after, and that would be something we'd spend quite a lot on AdWords, but it's a different style of business. Speed of delivery is vital in that, not so much with us. It would depend on the business, what way you're going about marketing, in my opinion.
Did you say it was Cartridge, Ireland? In
Cartridges, Ireland.
Oh, in Cartridges, Ireland. Oh, yes. Okay. Yes, different model altogether.
A different model altogether. Again, if you're coming down to delivery, next day delivery, people buying ink, they want it next day. They want it today if possible. They want it next day. With ourselves, speed isn't essential. It's getting the product, because it's a product they're most likely unable to source locally, or perhaps just came across a product and said, yeah, I wouldn't mind one of those, and went on to the Google or whatever and went off looking at it and came across yourself. With ink, it's like, I need my toner tomorrow because I've got this project going on, or we've got this job going on. They need it tomorrow. So there would be differences again depending on the model.
Yes.
And the products you're selling. So there'd be two classic differences between the two of those sites.
Yes, you'll hear a lot of marketing gurus now talk about adding value to your business and getting the social end of things. You do have a lovely Facebook page. It shows, I guess, what would be the front of your actual store with the nice summery or spring flowers and all. But do you find that Facebook is a bit of a white elephant, or has it actually helped you convert into sales?
As a local store, it's quite helpful.
Mm-hmm.
As a vehicle to sell product via our website, not massively helpful, without, again, putting money into it. Now, Google, or Facebook rather, are great in terms of giving you really small budgets to work with and identifying your customer, 18 to, if your customer, for example, 18 to 30 male in a Dublin traffic, you can take all those parameters and get a really niche search, but your budget disappears very quickly without it translating into sales. My experience of it, with no great expertise, it must be said, in trying to sell on Facebook, I found it quite difficult to get any return on any form of investment we've made on that. Other businesses might find different. Again, we're all selling different things, and I'm sure it's extremely helpful in some businesses, but for myself, it wouldn't have been something that we found particularly helpful.
Yes, well, a lot of businesses would agree with you, and the only thing I can add to that is what we would find is, like yourselves, is that for the customer local coming into your store, Facebook has helped a lot, in as much as you're keeping them abreast of the new things that arrive, and they're able to say, I saw this on Facebook, and they pop in and get it. But how it actually converts into selling more product online, I think Facebook are still working on making that a reality for the smaller businesses. If you're converting something that's costing £500 or £600 upwards, well, then you can afford to invest a little bit into the advertising of it. But
that's it, yeah.
If it's a small item, obviously, as you say, you could eat up your whole budget just on the AdWords end of it. You're coming across as quite an enthusiastic, upbeat person in the business. What would you say that your strong point is within the business, you personally? As
a strength for me personally, customer service would be big with me. I grew up at a family of retailers. Dad ran supermarkets, Super Value supermarkets, quite successfully, and I would have been working in doing bits and pieces in the store since I was 12. I see myself as a little bit of a people person. I think the main thing, but I think it's a very basic thing, that if you don't have this, then forget about being in retail, would be customer service.
Yes.
Now, that shouldn't be an odd thing. Everybody in my business or your business should have customer service, but I think it would be a main strength of mine, in my opinion.
Yes.
Better others feel the same. In general, we keep a little file in store, and particular for the online things, where when we get something positive back, we'll print it off, we put in a little golden file, we call it, and we flick through it every now and see the things we're doing right. And then there's a section at the back for the things where we haven't done quite right. That keeps us all up to date and can kind of refocus us. If you're having a bad day, if you're having a particularly tricky customer or something, to flick through that and say, well, look, here's what we did here. Look at this great bit of feedback we got from this customer.
Yes.
Okay, we made diddly squat on that sale. We did to send something else out and take something else back, but the customer was satisfied in the end and have shopped with us since. So that's,
yes,
the object achieved.
Well, it is. Have you ever woken up on a Monday morning and there's been an unexpected order, volume-wise, where you've said, wow, I wasn't expecting that?
We certainly have, yeah. Again, that's the thing. We list as much as we can of our products on the site without clogging the site, stuff we want to sell. But again, items we might have put up as saying, well, these shelving brackets here, they'll be a handy little line to have if somebody's looking to convert an old garage or something like that. But then the same system of shelving, we've had orders of in excess of €500-600 from large companies that we wouldn't have reckoned on early doors.
Mm-hmm.
Again, people coming across it online, exact system they want, giving us the call, And one thing I'd say to anybody, is never say no to a customer. You might kind of go, well, I'm not too sure I'd be able to do that in your head, but just take the name, take the number, say, I haven't got them in stock at the moment, but leave that with me. I'll see how quickly I can get it for you and how efficiently I can get it out for you, and I'll give you a ring back.
Yes.
And you could be so surprised at what you can get in sales from doing that.
You're sounding like Richard Branson, Alan. He would say yes and then work out the details later.
That's good company to be in. But that's certainly something we have noticed. And the more than ourselves, our suppliers are very helpful in then getting that order out, because it's a big order for them too. They're not used to it. Mm-hmm. And again, don't doubt it. Push it a little bit. Check with your supplier. But look, can you send that direct for me so I don't have to handle it? That's another element we found, something we weren't too sure of. And there's a lot of items on our site that aren't physically held in stock because the suppliers are excellent at getting them out for us. Might be at a slight premium, might be able to do it. We charge $4.99 postage nationwide for up to 30 kilos. It might be a slightly larger charge, but you're physically not handling the goods.
Yes.
Picking up the phone, I'd like this item here sent to this address here. Here's the lady's phone number. If you can send me on a tracking number as soon as it goes, and away you go. You're in business, you have your tracking number, it's on the way to your customer. Get market shipped. They've never physically held the product. All they've done is taken the time to list it up properly.
That's really good if you have your suppliers that you can do that with, because drop shipping isn't for the faint-hearted either, albeit it theoretically seems very easy, but there's a lot of work goes behind it to make sure that the companies in question are fulfilling properly. In a nutshell, if you were giving some basic advice to someone who wanted to start off with their own online business right now, after all this experience of the 6 years you've had in a very competitive e-commerce world, in the world of hardware, what would you say to them starting off?
It's just a rehash a point I just said there, but assume there's nothing you can't offer your customer. But the most important thing would be to never over-promise and under-deliver. If you're making a commitment to the customer, you got to follow that through every time. You can't under-deliver. That'll come back to you, and those customers come back again and again to you.
Yes, well, Alan, I absolutely agree with you 100%. Those are wise words. If you had a magic wand right now for your business, what would you like it to do?
That's a tricky question. Obviously, we want profitability and running like clockwork without us. That'd be nice. I suppose efficiency would be the key thing, to have a system in place that's smooth from the moment you receive the order to the order going out, to that getting accounted for, and there's little complications within that. Efficiency would be the main thing, but a magic wand, I could probably do a lot with a magic wand. I'd probably need a little bit more time to think with that.
Well, listen, that's really good. Streamlining your e-commerce business, making it more efficient. These are all issues which every e-commerce owner wants to work on a daily basis, and those are wise words. So really appreciate your words of wisdom there. Just remind our listeners again how they can find you online. We know that you're in Crumlin Village in Dublin, so if we're ever passing through that way, we should call in and get that expert hardware, both advice and goods. So for buying online for our UK and Irish listeners, where should they head over to?
Yep, so it's www.HardwareIreland.ie, and we'd be delighted to deal with any inquiries or any questions people, or indeed if anybody's listening to the show and think they have a similar enough business model to us, they're encountering a problem or thinking about going down the road that we're going, info@HardwareIreland.ie will come to me directly, and I'd be delighted to answer any questions or give any help that anybody might look for.
That's brilliant. Every now and again on Selling Online Today, we sometimes do a little Google Hangout where we have 6 or 7 business owners from different areas, and we come together and just kind of chat about the online business and try to, compare notes positively, usually from different sectors, so that we can bounce off different things, because we all do find, certainly for e-commerce retailers that are based in Ireland as a whole, that postage is key, because we're all looking for the best way to send our goods to the UK mainland in an efficient and cost-effective way. So definitely great to be able to keep you in the loop regarding those things and share any tips and tricks that we have and that we come across.
Yeah, just to add a little bit to that point, but slightly away from the website business, would be, we're part of a group, Expert Hardware. It's a marketing group. We get together once a month, 45 like-minded stores or like-minded business owners or managers. And the networking that you can get from that is just absolutely essential. It's just so helpful to be able to talk to people in similar shoes to you, or where are they buying this, what's selling for you, what's not selling for you. So networking with anybody, if it happens we're lucky enough, that's a like-minded business, but in any business at all, is extremely helpful and extremely worthwhile exercise.
Yes, well, keep tuning in to Selling Online Today too, where we'll hopefully be providing all those resources and give you some extra tips and tricks to go with your meetups that you have around Ireland. Alan, thank you very much for taking the time out of your busy schedule. I know that you just have to get back to wrapping all those parcels that you've probably sold while you've been on air with us.
Isn't that the beauty of it? Yeah, it's 24/7. Your site's open, never closed.
It is indeed. Well, we look forward to catching up with you again, and thank you very much for taking the time out to chat to us, and we'll catch you again.
No problem at all, Patrick. Thanks very much. Best of luck to anyone going down this route.
Yes, thank you.
Take the time right now to go to sellingonlinetoday.com and gain instant access to tons of free resources to help you in your online selling journey. We'll see you next time on Selling Online Today.